YouTube, how's it going? John here at Herman Woodworks, and breaking out another one of the Ridgid tools that I bought from a month or so ago, because today I got to use the tractor some and getting tired of hand cranking the grease gun. And actually it's got a couple of sticky Zerk fittings on there, so decided to get this, the Ridgid 18-volt grease gun. Let's get this bag off here and take a look at it. All right, so I purchased this as the tool only, and with the tool only purchase, obviously if you have your own battery, once again, I'll stipulate this is for people, Ridgid tool owners, or somebody if they want to buy this standalone. If you buy standalone, you got to get a battery for it. But this is what it's going to come with. This is the actual grease gun with, I believe it was a 39-inch hose on this. It comes with, if you're doing a lot of greasing, it comes with a strap that you can connect on the front, strap it over to the back here, so you can carry it on your shoulder. So that way you can just actually operate the trigger easy. And it comes with a 90-degree fitting for if you're getting into those tight, hard to reach places. Let's go over the other specifics. So first and foremost, we got a lock button up here on the handle, so if you have this thing sitting ready in a toolbox in your truck, you can lock it up so that it's not dispensing while you're driving around getting grease all over your seat. Next thing is, if you're working under a chassis or in a hard to reach area, need a little help seeing, it has a little button up here to actuate a light on the front. Battery's off, so it's not going to do it right now. The next thing that it has is a dosage counter. So right now in the on position, if I were to pull the trigger on the unit and it was loaded with grease, it would keep pumping. You would hear the piston actuating it and it would keep dispensing grease. If you're doing a bunch of greasing, a lot of greasing, and you want to do a preset setting, in their manual it describes it as like a dosage counter, and it has a bunch of numerical values here. 1 is the equivalent of 1 piston push for the grease, and you can vary that all the way up. It has single units all the way up to 10, then it goes all the way and it jumps all the way to 50. So that's very handy if you're doing a bunch of preset stuff and you always know it's going to be about 5, set it to it and just kind of go along. The next thing that it's going to have is has 2 speeds. One is your high pressure. It reaches a maximum pressure of 10,000 psi. That's going to be your low, slow push, high compression. The next one is going to be 2, which is going to be quite a bit faster. I've been told about 3 times as fast in the amount of grease dispensing that it does, but it's obviously not going to have the same high pressure as that. More than likely, for my purposes for the tractor, it'll probably be just in the 1 in the slow speed. I'm not trying to break land speed records with what I'm doing. Some of the other features on it, we discussed the hose. It's going to have an air bleed out valve that when you first load up a grease cartridge, that you're going to open that up, push it in, get a little bit of grease coming out of here so you don't have an air bubble. That way it's not trying to pump that air up and through your line, so you're waiting on that. Getting a look at the opposite side here. So unlike some of the other Ridgid stuff where I've made comments about if they have like a wrench or just something for it and nowhere to put it, so then you have to keep that in your pocket, this has a handy dandy little spot to keep that 90-degree bend, and then to run your hose back, go through here and push it into here. So that'll be really handy just to keep everything right and tight. Let's get a battery on this and get a tube of grease in here. And a little hard with the GoPro zooming in on it, but in case anybody's curious as to the actual model number, it's a R860445. And like I said, this is a Ridgid 18-volt grease gun. All right, we're going to see how well I can do this with the GoPro. So you're going to go ahead and unscrew the actual grease tube holder. That'll come out. It's got a little bit of factory grease lube on there. You can kind of see it in the front there. So let's grab this, Okay, now that we have this, we're going to take that, pull it all the way back, and there'll be a groove in the bar where it lets it drop down into here. So it'll just kind of hold in place like that. Next thing you're going to take is your tube of grease. In this case, I have the LS tractor grease. Totally putting a question out to everyone else in this. If you got a kind of grease that you recommend, especially specific for tractors or that, you know, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear it. So we're going to take the plastic top off this. Metal ring won't go in here is an easy way to know. So you're going to take this plastic top off first. See our grease. We're going to drop that into here. Make sure that's pushed all the way in. And then we're going to pop this and screw it into there. Make sure that's good and tight. Then you're going to, I'm going to have to sit this down to release it. All right, now that that's released, like we said, you're going to go ahead and open up this bleeder valve so that we can go ahead and push from the back. I'm going to have to, let me see if I can do this. Okay, all we needed was a little bit of grease to come out of there, just the air, grease, and it's ready to rock and roll. All right, so cleaned off the Zerk fittings. Let's see how she runs. Nice. So after already doing a couple of these, one of the things I definitely want to invest in is seeing a lot of people switch over to the quick coupling fitting, just because when you get a little pressure built up in the line, rather than jerking this thing around, you can just grab and go. Especially when it gets some pressure built up in the line, you kind of got to give it a good tug. And I'm not exactly a small fry, so all right, so that wraps it up for the Ridgid 18-volt grease gun. This thing worked awesome. I'm really thrilled with it for greasing the tractor. It'll really save a lot of time. Like I said, my big recommendation after going over the tractor now is definitely going to get the quick coupler so I can just squeeze, unlock. That'll really save a lot of wrestling around with it. But other than that, functionality of it, it really works well. I'm very pleased with it. All right, YouTube, that wraps it up for the Ridgid grease gun. Like I said, was really thrilled with how it operated. It's really humid here. I'm done sweating after wrestling around getting this grease fitting working, and a couple of the Zerks were stuck and needed replaced, so took care of that. But onwards and upwards on to the next one. It's Friday, ready to relax. So once again, YouTube, it's been awesome. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and I'll talk to you again soon.